Looks like we're recording on Zoom too. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Well, hello and welcome everybody to another call with me and my crew as well. I want to thank the people who are assisting me on this call, bringing to you some information on health and wellness on Zoom, Facebook Live, something to help you, your loved ones, your community. For those people who want to be healers in their home, healers in the family, healers in the community, and recognize that the health disparities that we have in our community, especially amongst African Americans and other people of color, they're vast. We get sicker sooner and die faster than other people from preventable reasons. And our healthcare system is not set up to and will not resolve this. But guess what? We can. When it comes to diet and lifestyle, there's nobody who's with you 24/7, 365 like you are. So that means you're responsible for your body, no one else. Just like the mechanic is not responsible for the car, the manufacturer is not responsible for the car. You're responsible for maintaining your car, your body, the vehicle, the one vehicle that were given in coming into this world. So we got all kinds of things. We take care of everything else. We don't always take good care of ourselves. But today we're going to be talking about a problem that over 60 million people are facing. That's digestive problems. So, and I'll say, if we were to expand from that, if we were to look at the people who have digestive problems, and we expand and say, okay, and if it starts with the digestive system and it impacts other systems as it does, then you're talking about hundreds of millions or more people who are being impacted by digestive problems at the root, and then the immune system and our endocrine system. All systems of the body are dependent or interdependent on the digestive system. There's an expression that many people are familiar with, especially in the holistic health community. It says death begins in the colon. Well, that's partially true. Death or digestion, death, destruction, or health can start in the digestive system. So we're either healthy, we're either taking things in that support health or support disease. Okay. So I'm not going to address everything that possibly could go wrong with the digestive system. Some things are more complex than others, but I will share some information on some of the most common things that people are facing, one, so that we can, one, recognize things at their earliest presentations, when in the early stages, ideally, okay? And then we can expand and go from there. If you understand the fundamentals, if you understand some of the basic things that we can do day by day, week by week, and do the simplest, least expensive, least intrusive things, and ideally we're not going to go to the more drastic or the later stage problems. Too often people would come to my holistic health clinic, they would call or they would come and they had fourth stage cancer. Someone has fourth stage cancer, guess what? Colonics is not going to be the answer. Get some herbs or just doing some fruit is not the answer. So we want to catch things early on. And we normally find that it's with that digestive disturbance, it's with that gas, it's with that bloating, the indigestion, the occasional, I'm not handling foods very well. Those were the things we'd find that would present first. And then later, and then it gets to the point where there's something that's chronic. There's something that's more longer term, that a person has ulcers or ulcerate, or colitis and Crohn's and this and that, and leading up to, to cancer. So we're going to, again, I'm going to talk about some things, particularly in the earlier stages, and what some things that we can do to be empowered And it's not about a product, it's more about a protocol. So it's a lifestyle. We have choice. We have lifestyles, we have death styles. We have things that will promote life, longevity, vibrance, vitality, energy, as much longevity as we can get. Okay, nobody can guarantee you a certain number of years, but we want to have good quality of life in the years that we have, and for ourselves and our loved ones. Okay, so I hope to share some things with you that's going to be a benefit to you and make a difference, and that you can start employing right away, immediately, like today. Okay, so I do have some things to present and share with you. There will be, I'm also going to launch our survey, because I did put together a survey. So for the people who are in the room, so I know there's some people who are on Zoom, and you got the link for that. And there's some people who are on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you want to come into the Zoom room so you can take the survey, and so you can have a little bit more intimate interaction with me and on the call, then one of my assistants will share that link with you, and I will put up the survey, and toward the end, I will address what the results of that is as well. Okay. So the survey is up and live. So the people who are in the room and the people who will be coming in the room, I'm going to ask you to share with that, to fill out the survey. That helps me know what's going on with you and be able to address your needs and your concerns in a more meaningful way. Okay. So you'll get a chance to learn some things. I get a chance to learn about you. And together, we'll make a difference in the lives of potentially millions of people. Okay. All right. We got more people coming into the room. And again, I thank you for being on this call. And, at this time, and I'm going to got a little something to present. Oh, yeah. Hope everybody's doing good today. And I know some people who are on the call, either you have some of these conditions, or you know someone who does, right? And so one of the reasons why I first got into health and wellness and started on this journey, and I'll say, some of it was because of my own personal interest and pursuit, and I wanted to improve my health. But there was another reason, and that's because I wanted to help the people in my family. I saw the condition, my father's health condition, and my uncles, and I'll say the older people in my family, because I was in my teens to early 20s when I first started on this path. And then it got to a point where I saw more and more people having these health concerns, and the passion, the interest became a profession. When I first started on this, it was really just it was interest. It was a strong interest that grew. So seeing people like Dick Gregory and others, hearing them talking about health and the health of African Americans in particular. And I said, I took on the challenge. He said, it's a big job that we have to do. And yes, it is. And it's going to take all of us to overcome this. So here, we're talking about the digestive system. And first of all, the digestive system is that tract that goes from mouth to anus. It's about 33 feet from your mouth to your anus, even though it's a relatively short, a short distance. If you were to put your hand at the point of your mouth and your anus, but it's approximately 33 feet between your mouth, your esophagus, your stomach, small intestine, large intestine, from one end to the other. So there's quite a bit of room for there to be problems in that, every step of the way, from your mouth and your teeth, your gums, to all to your stomach, every step of the way, we can have a number of different problems. And those problems can be as simple as gas, bloating, headache, indigestion, a little stomach upset or stomach ache, headaches, all the way to irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and in worst case, worst situation would be something like colorectal cancer or colon cancer, which is the second leading cause of deaths due to cancer in the United States. Okay. And again, the majority of these problems that we have are diet and lifestyle related. So I'm going to address some of these things. So first of all, I'm going to start with something really simple and that you've no doubt heard again and again and again, and that's about hydration or drinking water and your digestive health. Okay, so one of the first things that people can do if they notice that they get the gas, the bloating, or any number of symptoms, is simply to get some water, pure water. Okay, so before we do herbs and everything else, start with water. Most people are not hydrated properly. Most people are not drinking enough water, and water is important for dissolving nutrients for absorption, supports the body getting rid of waste. And so we're backed up. If we have inconsistent stool, if the stool is hard, if it's difficult to pass, if it's then water is one of the main ways and one of the main things that we can do. And drinking, and those of you who've been with me on other calls or recordings know that I say drink water first thing in the morning before your feet hit the floor. I have a gallon container of water in my room. I've got a cup at my bedside on my bedstand, and I'm drinking water first thing. Okay. And if we, get about 8 to 12 ounces or so of water inconsistently, we're going to notice a movement first thing in the morning. That's going to help to clear out the digestive system and get the body prepared for the food and what goes on. So, rule of thumb, there's two ways that people look at how much water and how to take in water. And one formula is to get 8-ounce glasses of water a day. Well, and then there's another philosophy or approach that says we should be drinking approximately half of our body weight in ounces. So, for example, a person who weighs 160 pounds would be getting about 80 ounces of water in their body a day. So that makes the distinction between a Shaquille O'Neal and or someone who's very, tall and heavy, somebody who's 200, 300 pounds or so, and someone who is, a child is smaller or in stature or lighter. Okay. Someone who's 4'8" and, 85 pounds or something. Okay. So, so either way, increase the amount of water that you're drinking if you're not getting at least 8-ounce glasses or half your body weight in ounces, and drink that gradually throughout the day. There's a number of things that'll happen as a result of that are very positive and health building. One, it will help to flush your digestive system and prepare your digestive system for your first meal, for that break fast meal, whenever you have that. Okay. And secondly, it'll also help to make you feel a bit more full and satiated, so that if you're truly just thirsty and that satisfies you, you won't be eating from false hunger. And that's particularly important for people who are wanting to lose weight or maintain the weight that they've lost. Okay. Because if you're eating food when your body's just thirsty, then you're going to tend to overeat. You're going to have too many calories, too much stuff, and and your body's just going to pack it on. It's going to hold that in reserve because that's what it's designed to do. So a weight loss tip, a digestive tip, a cleansing tip, a detox tip, a flatten the belly tip is to start off by drinking the water one first thing in the morning, and then secondly, do what your mama told you not to do. Drink water with your meals before you be well, and particularly before your meals. Okay. So it's ideal that you have that as opposed to drinking throughout a meal for ideal digestion. Okay. So when you're doing that, it kind of curb the appetite. It's okay if you're going out. Well, say if you're preparing food at home, which is the ideal, then eat less. Okay. Don't fill your plate up. The difference between eating at 16, 46, or 60 is a huge difference. We're much more active at 16 than we are at 46 or 60. So you don't need to fill up your plate like you used to. And that's one of the things that is causing problems with people with the gas, the bloating, and indigestion as well. Eating too much. Okay. Eating too much at one time, putting too much on your plate. But drinking water is going to help with that. Okay. Drinking water will also help you to limit the caffeinated, sugary drinks and the other stuff. People have asked me for years, Dr. Brown. Well, I'm not drinking that much water, but I drink my Crystal Light, I drink my lemonade, I drink my tea, I drink my coffee. Coffee has water in it. It's mostly water, right? It's not the same. Here's the test. Can you wash your body with it? Can you wash your hair with it? No. You're not washing your body. You're not. So that is not. So when you put something in water and it has to go through the process of digestion, is doing something different with it. You drink pure water, especially on an empty stomach. It'll go to your stomach, go to your small intestine, go to your colon, which really is water loving and needs it. It'll go there more directly. If it has substances in it, it has food, a food product or food quality to it, it's going to go through digestion. Okay, so it's going to take a pit stop there at your stomach and your small intestines, and it'll start a digestive process there, which is different than the functional cleansing that we're looking for. Okay, so again, caffeinated, sugary drinks and those type of things. And then, so when you have caffeinated, carbonated, sugary drinks and those things as well, they contribute to dehydration. They impact your gut health. They absolutely impact and change your gut health. Okay, so the things that we put in there are either going to feed the bacteria and promote and cause the bacteria in our digestive system to be healthy and to support our ideal weight and blood sugar and immune health and everything else, or it's going to undermine that. Okay. So some of the many functions and purposes of water. Next, nourishing the digestive system. So then we're going to go from fluids to foods. Okay. And so diverse diet for gut health, a balanced diet with fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats supports gut health. Anti-inflammatory foods would include ginger, peppermint, and turmeric, which aids digestion. So what else do we do to help the gas, the bloating, the indigestion, the big belly, some people call it ball's belly. Some people associate that with prosperity for some reason. But all the things that are going on with the gut, you got some gut issues, even irritable bowel syndrome and things, then you have to look to the diet. And so there's two approaches and two things that I want you to do in regards to that. And that is if you to keep a food diary, and again, that's for you individually, that's for you and your children, because I've some parents have reached out to me as well and said I'll say their offspring, not just children, but their offspring are expressing and having digestive problems. You make a record of what they're eating all throughout the day, including snacks. Now, why are we doing this in um, I'll say instead of just taking the medication or taking some antacid or something like that? Many times, if you'll notice a pattern, the people are eating the same thing over and over, and if they have a sensitivity, allergic reaction, or something with the food, one of the ways that an allergy actually is going to show up is through digestive upset. So we're familiar with the respiratory stuff, right? We know that you say, if somebody says, I've got allergies. Well, allergies show up with our respiratory system, few of the ways they can show up, the respiratory system, the digestive system, weight gain or retention. So look to the diet, record the foods. There's some things that involve, for example, what we call a rotational diet or elimination diet, where you start eliminating certain foods out of the diet to find the offensive or food or the food that person is allergic to or reacting to, and then reintroducing that. That's one way of doing it. But recording would be one. Two, it would be eliminating some of the most common factors, foods that people typically have a problem with. Some of them you probably know. Dairy, particularly for people of color, dairy products, and all your milk, your cheese, cottage cheese, ice cream, all those things, and those products and those foods that contain those things as well. Okay. So simpler is better. So, look at that. And again, if people having it all the time, every day, there's some people, they have the same cereal every day. They have the same eggs, milk, eggs, toast, and bacon or whatever. They have the same thing over and over and over and over. And that causes a problem for two reasons. One, that oftentimes there's something in there that they're not digesting well. They love the taste of it, but it doesn't love them. And then secondly, your body gets kind of tired of getting the same thing over and over and over again. You really need to get more variety in your food. That's healthier for good digestion and for digestion, for health. That's good all together to mix and to change up what you have. And again, particularly with the fruits and vegetables and things. So one is the dairy, eliminating the dairy products and looking at that, isolating that. Secondly, it would be some people do have gluten allergies. And guess what? Everybody doesn't have gluten allergies, but some people do. Okay? And so if people have celiacs or sensitivity, then gluten could be offensive. So I know there's some people okay, well, I don't eat, they want to talk about all the different things they don't eat. Everybody does not have the same level of sensitivity to gluten. Okay. So it's not a problem for everybody, but if it is a problem but for some people, it's a serious problem for them. So identify that the foods they have would contain gluten. There are a number of people who are sensitive to the corn, especially as it's evolved over time as well, in some with certain grains. Okay. Now, what else do we need to look at? We need to look at food additives. Okay. And that is all the different things that they started putting into the food. So, food fundamentally, when it comes from nature in its natural state, it's going to be your peaches, your pear, your apple, your lettuce, or whatever, unprocessed, right? And we would eat that and have that raw. When we lived in an agrarian society, on the farms, when people growing things in there at their homes and getting foods close by, they would eat those things first. And then again, in their, just you chop things up and put it into your salad. Very simple. What was happening when I was growing up, most of the women, my mother, aunts, and people in the community, they prided themselves in cooking food from scratch. Okay. And if you're not familiar with those terms, probably some younger people on here, and that means they would take the basic elements. They didn't take things out of a box and say, "Oh, I'm making a cake." Well, you really making a cake? No, they would take the flour. They had the flour, the sugar, the egg, the milk, the salt, whatever was going to go in there, and then the fruit, and they did everything by hand from scratch. Now, what's the benefit of that? Okay. And that is that you know what's going into your food. You know exactly what's in there, and you have control over that. So we're finding that people that are preparing their own food at home and doing it themselves are achieving better health. Okay. When you select the food, because you don't know what's in that box in that can. You don't know how long it's been around. You're selecting the food, you're selecting the best, you know the quality of it, you can smell it, taste it, whatever, if you want to be organic or um, of a particular condition, you pay attention to those things. And then you're not going to put preservatives in there. You're not putting all this alpha, all these other sodium benzoate and all these different things that you typically see on the side of a box, a can, and such. So some people have sensitivities to the food additives, the colorings, the flavorings, the artificial stuff in there, and including what we call industrial waste products that they put into the food as well, because they can add that as a filler in smaller amounts, the dyes and all those types of things. So you know exactly what you're getting. So eat the basics, avoid the things that have um, artificial ingredients and such, and prepare in as much as you can. Prepare it simply. Prepare it at home. And this is a great opportunity for those of you who have young people as well, to get your young people in the kitchen and preparing foods themselves and not going to the fast food places. Okay. We're seeing more digestive problems. We're seeing more cancers. The second leading cause of deaths for people under 18, for our youth, besides accidents, is cancer. We're eating our cancers. We're eating our diseases. Heart disease and many things are showing up as early as age 10. And much of that is because this fast food society, we're doing things quick. We're sending them with Lunchables or something packaged. That stuff it's no good. So you want to do something for digestive system as well as for their health overall, their immune system and longevity. Keep it simple. Prepare it more at home. And I'm going to say, take the time to do it. That we all have the same 168 hours. We need to work some of these things out. So watching the foods, anti-inflammatory foods. And there's some things that traditionally we've gotten away from, that we lost. Now, you probably have all heard, all of you have heard about ginger ale, right? Ginger ale was originally a medicinal food, a medicinal drink, because ginger, like I have here, is a staple in many countries, many cultures, many places. So, years ago, decades ago, ginger drinks, your sassafras in other roots in your root beer, lemon, well, your lemon drinks, even many of the sodas or pops that we call them, many of the beverages that I grew up on or that they had years ago, if it said orange soda, it actually had oranges in it. If it said in grape soda and everything else, it actually had that substance in there. Now that's not in there at all. Okay. Um, Horehound candy, and so things were more natural. They came from nature. They would digestive problems have probably always been an issue, but how we address them is different. Again, many of ginger ales, take a look at the bottles. Many of the ginger ales don't have any ginger in it. Many of the things that say a fruit, a lemon this, a grape that, don't have any of that in there. Root beer has no roots in it. Okay. So ginger ginger but they are, and guess what? There are ginger beverages. People in the Caribbean, I've got friends from Africa. Some of my friends from Africa in the Caribbean, many times, if you ask them to make a ginger beer, it tastes nothing like the ginger drinks that we have that you'll find in the stores. But and those were part of our meals, part of our what we took in regularly, and that helped to balance things out for um, not only taste but for our digestive system. Peppermint in your mint teas, the mints generally are great for digestion. So in some cultures and societies, when you have people who drink teas with their meals or have teas throughout the day, if you're going to have tea, there's some, I'm not gonna name things by brand, but find a good peppermint tea and drink that and sip on that. You having digesting gas, sip on that. Drink your water, have your tea, have a little ginger in your meals and your salads and such, and even include turmeric. Okay. I'll be doing a class on some of these spices and some of these herbs that you'll typically have in your kitchen that you're not using medicinally, you're using it as a flavoring, as a seasoning. But originally, those were used not just for flavoring, but for medicinal purposes. So we got to get back to that. So some things you want to have: ginger, peppermint, turmeric. Almost can't get too much peppermint. Uh, Chamomile, and there's some other things that you can have that'll be very good for digestion. Some other things, keeping it simple. There's a a method of addressing digestive problems, which we call monotrophic eating, which means eating one thing at a time. One of the problems that people are having with their digestive systems is eating too many things at one time, and eat too many things, too many that are processed, complex, eating it too fast. If you got a half-hour lunch and you're trying to go out and get something and then come back and eat it, and you're wolfing it down, much less fast foods, then you're going to get gas, and you're going to get the gas, and you're going to have digestive problems, short term or long term. Most people are. Okay. So preparing those things. So for those people working outside the home, try to prepare something uh, at home and bring it into work. Get your containers and things as much as possible. I say don't microwave. Some people know I got a problem with the microwaving, but um, uh, I mean, the salads you don't have to cook. Salads you don't have to cook. Some of the dishes that you can have, and I know I can have them cold, or I can have them without heating them up greatly. So um, look at some of those things as options on what you can do to prepare something um, at home and bring that into your workplace environment, and try to take your time with it as well. So one monotrophic eating means eating one thing at a time as opposed to things very complex. Two, keeping your meals simpler than more complex. You don't have to have six what do you call it? Um, um, Plates or six different things that you have in your meals, not drinking sugary things, not drinking the pop and the carbonated beverages as you're eating. When you get that burger and you get that pop and you get them fake fries and then that whatever, something else along with that, recipe for disaster. Simpler is better. Oatmeal is something people follow me and see me on, on my page will often, typically we'll see at least once or twice a year some of my oatmeal recipes. Sometimes I'll make it very simple. And then at other times I'll add my blueberries. I'll add my mango. I'll add something in there. I'll have some raisins in there that'll provide taste, that'll provide some variety, that will um, enhance it as well. And then of course I put my cinnamon, I put my little nutmeg in there, put a touch of vanilla, real vanilla in there as well, and it tastes great. And so many people will get relief eating oatmeal regularly, not the quick cook, not the microwave, whatever. The old fashioned slow cook, either milled or oats, and having that again more simply. And then, so you may have oatmeal and berries for breakfast, quinoa and vegetables for lunch. I like couscous at times. I like my whole grains. And I'll have that with like broccoli, a potato. Again, simple. Try to make it simpler. Record it. Find a routine. Find some things that are different than what you have been eating, and then note if you're getting the gas, you're getting the indigestion, getting the bloating. Note what you ate during that meal. Did you start bloating or something an hour after? That's going to give an indication as to what you are reacting or responding to. Okay. And then getting diversity, having a diverse diet and whole foods improve your gut health. Processed foods are negative. Fast foods, slow death. Really poor for digestion. There's no upside to fast foods. Okay. I don't go in there even for the salads, to tell you the truth. And then food diversity makes a big difference in terms of the digestive health and its subsequent inflammation. And then we've got fiber. Fiber is very important. So let me explain something about fiber. There are two types of fiber: soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. Fiber is responsible for helping things to move through your digestive system. So think of it like the two-sided sponge, or the two-sided, I'll say sponge on one side and then scrubber on the other side. One side, the spongy part, absorbs, right? And so that's for absorbing fats and waste or toxins and things that your body needs to hold on to and pass out. Okay. That's the garbage. You hold on to the garbage and move it out of the body. And then there's that scrubbing side. So you know what I'm talking about? You got sponge on one side and you got the scrubbing material on the other. And that's for cleaning things up. That's for moving things off the walls of the colon. That's for that has a heavier, more cleansing function. So you need soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. You need fiber that absorbs and fiber that cleanses. When you get a balance of those two, then you're going to have greater regularity. It's going to I'll say decrease what we call your bowel transit time. It's going to help things move out of your body more quickly than 3 days, which is, I would see with some people. Sometimes people they only have bowel elimination once a week, once every 10 days, a couple times a month, only with laxatives. Water and fiber is essential in maintaining good gut health, digestive health, and good elimination. We are not just what we eat, we're what we digest, what we absorb, and what we do or do not eliminate. Okay. So getting a mix of like the oats, nuts, and seeds, and then insoluble fiber like your whole grains and vegetables, when they're still intact, not cooked until they're mush, not microwaved until they're, you could blend them up or mash them with a fork. They should be crunchy. So the foods in your should be crunchy. You should feel that fiber in your mouth, and that goes all the way through your digestive system as well. As crucial for preventing diseases. Years ago, I'd heard this statistic that about if we increased our fiber, the amount of fiber in our diet, then we would decrease 3/4 or so of the digestive cancers and problems that we have. We got to move those things on out. Adults should aim for 25 to 30 grams of fiber daily through fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. And when we're eating that 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables daily, then you're probably getting it. Otherwise, some people will supplement with some, have some fiber supplements. Not necessarily saying Metamucil, but some other things. Oh, and I'll say like flax seeds. Your flax seeds, your chia seeds, and those things you can put in there. Get that in your smoothie. Get more for fiber and more varieties of fiber and more healthy fibers in there. And then, that's going to be great for digestive health. And that'll help a lot of people. Now, initially, when you're increasing your fiber, you may notice an increase in gas. Okay, that's real. Okay, so best way to incorporate that is to do it slowly and gradually. Let your body get accustomed to it. Okay, go slow initially. So hydration, foods, fiber, flora, prebiotics, and probiotics, boosting gut flora. So in our digestive system, in with the waste that you eliminate, okay, there's a lot of what we call flora, or a lot of gut bacteria. A lot of what comes out as waste is bacteria. It's not just what you eat. So some people say, well, I don't go to the bathroom that often because I didn't eat that much. I didn't eat that much today. You still got a lot of gut bacteria in there as well. And that is breaking down your food is into the point where your body can absorb it. It's affecting your immune system. It's a part of your digestive process. It's a critical part of your digestive process. If our gut flora is not healthy, you will not be healthy. And that can be attributed to a number of different diseases. Can't get into detail right now, but I'll say that looking at the quality of your stool, looking at the quality of your elimination, you want to have, it should be light, long, large, easy to pass. Okay. And ideally without offensive odor. Many times your elimination will smell like what went in your body, what you ate. But especially the longer that it's in your body, the less healthy it's going to be. and the stronger the odor is going to be as well. When I had a radio broadcast for years, I was sharing some of the same information as I am right now. And there was a woman who called in, and she was almost tearful even at this point. She said, she says, I can't tell you how important this is, because she says, we used to tease my brother about how bad his stool smelled, right? We used to, it was just kind of a running joke in the family, right? Kind of like Al Bundy and on television, different things, and people have joked about this for years, but it's not really not a joke. But she says, uh, we were teasing my brother about this for a long time, and then later on we found out he had colon cancer. The odor and strong offensive odors in your stool will often indicate that there's bowel disruption, problems going on that can lead to something really serious. So beyond getting gas and bloating, you got some other things that can be going on in there, in your bowel rhythm, your bowel elimination, the quality of the stool that we tend not to like to talk about. Some people may be uncomfortable right now. Okay. You don't talk about it around dinner, and or people will joke about it, or you act like you don't stink and all this type of thing. Well, the odor and the quality of your elimination is a measure of how your health is. Through my holistic health center, we saw over 60,000 people over 30 years, and I saw more and more people, and more younger people, who were having gut problems, digestive problems, problems eliminating, chronic constipation, all types of things. I put some things out there on social media, and people are saying, I've had problems all my life. And I mean, just for decades, and we take it as just being is normal. I just take this or take that, and the doctor prescribed this, that, or the other, when really it's not normal, it's not healthy, it's not desirable, it's problematic, and you want to get on top of this. It's critical. Prebiotics are found in garlic, onions, asparagus, and probiotics are in fermented foods. It says yogurt, the kefir, sauerkraut, some things you can make at home, fermented foods, or even your tempeh. There are roles for your pickles and your fermented foods, but I'm going to really emphasize the need and the importance of your garlic, onions, and those things in terms of being the natural antibiotics, natural remedies to help to balance out a lot of the problems in the gut bacteria. Okay. We almost can't have too much garlic or many onions. I know people are concerned about their breath, but they really help to balance things out. You need to have some fermented foods at times. That's a reason why you'll see this in a number in Europe, and you'll see kimchi and in so many different cultures and societies, is because it's a traditional food, but it's also essential food that's beneficial for health and gut health, supporting gut health. So probiotics, if people are not getting adequate amounts in there, they can supplement with some, but look at some of your foods, and if people hit me up on email or something, I'll respond in kind as well. But and we'll be doing subsequent calls and recordings on foods that we can incorporate, and how to incorporate that, and how to make certain things. But this is a category of foods and components in the foods that you really want to pay attention to. Okay, so yeah, prebiotics, probiotics, taking especially if a person is taking certain medications, then you need to change that gut flora, and you need to get the prebiotics and the probiotics in your diet. Flushing out your digestive system. So detoxification. A lot of people talk about detoxification. They ask about, that. What do I do? How do I make changes? Sometimes a person's problem is so advanced, or has gotten to the state that they need to do some flushing, and not just put something new on top of the old, right? Sometimes you got to wash out that garbage can. Sometimes you got to wash out that vessel before you put something healthy in there. You clean out the refrigerator of the rotted fruits and stuff, whatever stuff that's in there. You don't just put that on top of that. What do they say? One, rotten apple spoil the whole bunch. So there are some times when you need to, and I'll say, and it's probably true for 80% easily of people in the US. Hydrotherapy, enemas, colonics, to hydrate and flush out our system. Sometimes it's just you can't eat enough, you can't make enough changes quickly enough. You need to flush it out. When I growing up, my mother gave us enemas. Okay. And one time it was a standard procedure at hospitals until you got to the point where people don't want to do it. They don't charge insurance, may or may not pay for it, and whatever, besides messiness or this, that, or the other thing. They used to prepare people for surgeries and for many procedures by cleaning them out. We used to manage fevers and a lot of conditions with hydrotherapy, cleaning people out, utilizing water, flushing out the colon, getting out the weeds and the waste before you put some things in there. And I'll tell you, this is another level, and I won't be able to cover it on this in this call, but or this recording. But there's also ways of cleaning out the colon in more advanced conditions, cleaning out the colon and then introducing something even rectally into the colon so that new bacteria and new environment can be established. That will help a lot of people. There's even something called fecal implants for certain conditions they're getting great results from. Okay. So there's always going to be that precaution that you want to know if you're going to someone, you want to know what they know. You want to really speak to them about that. Everybody who's out there doing stuff don't necessarily know what they're doing, and is necessarily doing it safely. But there are some great benefits you can have for the colon hydrotherapy. And then diet, physical activity, vitally important. Movement is really important. Anyone who's had anyone in a nursing home knows that the less mobile a person is, the slower their digestive system tends to be, the worse the digestive system tends to be. All of us, people are very active, especially us runners. No, you can't run for a long period of time and not have to go to the toilet, not have to have, not have a bowel elimination. So movement is very important. Getting off the couch, having some exercise, having some movement, having, moving at the waist and all this is important in terms of stimulating the digestive system, the elimination and such. And then of course, and you got flushes, you got some flushes and some other things that people can do for short, limited, periods of time that normally are best done under guidance and not just because you heard somebody spouting off on the internet about something. Oh, just do this. I cured everything by just doing this. Well, I'll say go slow. Find some simple things. The what's called the lemonade diet, or can be helpful for some people. Doing some cleansing, some detoxes can be helpful. Doing some juicing, and there'll be more I'll be sharing about that, can be very helpful for many people. But we should be considerate of a person's condition before we endeavor into something too heavy or too long. And then we've got foods that contribute to digestive problems. So we talked about food, fiber, flora, flushing. And these are foods that contribute to digestive problems. Again, processed foods, unhealthy things would be processed foods, high fat, sugary products cause bloating, constipation, acid reflux, GERD, gastrointestinal reflux disease, things backing up. If your digestive system is backing up something that's absolutely wrong, you want to get to the root of that and not just take a pill, a powder, or something for that problem. Research indicates that diets that are high in processed foods correlate with increased rates of gastrointestinal disorders, affecting over 20% of the global population, not just here in the United States. The United States is even higher. Okay. I believe that it's close to, if not the number one reason why people go to the doctor, go to doctors and go to the clinics and have hospital visits, are because of digestive problems, digestive upsets. Now, early on, people tend to kind of self-manage. As people age, many times it's hard to distinguish between a heart attack and gastritis. Okay. But if you got gastritis, you got something going on, then red meats, deep fried foods, artificial sweeteners, poor diet is often at the root of that. And then impacts of drugs and medications. Of course, we want to talk about that because there's a couple of things going on. So I'm going to start at some of the earlier stages first and say that people who were breastfed or babies who are breastfed, especially from healthy mothers, tend to have the least problems, and tend to get a great deal of benefit from that breast milk. But once you start introducing antibiotics and some other drugs, then that's where a lot of the problem starts. Medications, NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, antibiotics, and estrogen reducers, those things actually don't help the digestive system. They worsen it. So you want to manage it with diet, want to manage it with lifestyle, want to manage it naturally as much as possible, so a minor problem doesn't become a major one. So if you take antibiotics, if you're taking antibiotics, good chance is that you got disruption with your digestive system. And then chronic long-term use, most of these things are not meant to be used for a long period of time. I see. And okay, so lifestyle factors, alcohol, excessive alcohol, stress, those types of things impact as well. Smoking, and such. So what we want to encourage you to do is to make some different lifestyle choices, dietary and lifestyle choices. And so I hope you continue listening, tuning in.